Participants Rachel argues for moving to a national popular vote. NPV Dana argues for keeping the Electoral College. EC cautious about NPV Rachel. Start with first principles. One person, one vote. The Electoral College violates that. A ballot in a small swing state can be more influential than one in a large safe state. Candidates know this and campaign accordingly, relentlessly in a few places, scarcely anywhere else. A national popular vote would make every ballot equally valuable and push campaigns to compete everywhere, not just along an ever-shrinking map. Dana, equality is important, but institutions also serve other goals. The EC is part of a federal system that balances popular sovereignty with state roles. It encourages candidates to build geographically broad coalitions rather than simply maximizing votes in dense metros. Abolishing or bypassing it could nationalize every dispute, inviting logistical and legal chaos without the federalist circuit breakers states currently provide. Rachel, the broad coalition claim collapses when you look at behavior. Campaigns don't court a broad map. They court a narrow set of battlegrounds. Voters in safe states, red or blue, are invisible. Under NPV, 10,000 votes in a neglected part of Texas or California would matter as much as 10,000 in Wisconsin. That's healthier for participation and accountability. Dana, and yet the EC gives voice to smaller states that would otherwise be swamped. In a pure popular vote, parties could ignore rural areas and run up margins where voters are concentrated. The EC forces candidates to think in terms of states, making it harder to win by appealing to a narrow slice of the electorate. Rachel, in practice, rural communities in safe states are ignored now. NPV doesn't erase them. It finally prices their votes in. Parties would find it irrational to leave votes on the table anywhere. Plus, the EC structure produces wrong winner outcomes, where the popular vote winner loses the presidency at meaningful rates in close elections. That undercuts legitimacy. Dana, wrong winner is a value judgment. Our Constitution defines the winner via electors, and close elections would be contentious under any system. With NPV, you invite a single nationwide recount standard sprinkled across thousands of local jurisdictions. The EC localizes recounts to tipping point states. That's administratively SINA. Rachel, that's a solvable design problem, not a fatal flaw. We already run national tabulations for House votes, gubernatorial votes, and ballot measures in 50 states. If we adopt NPV seriously, we can specify uniform recount triggers, audit standards, and canvass rules. The EC's administrative convenience doesn't justify systematic inequality. Dana, I'm not just citing convenience. There are constitutional questions, especially with the National Popular Vote Interstate Compact. Does it violate the Compact Clause? What happens if a member state's counts are disputed? If you want a national popular vote, do it with a constitutional amendment and national rules. Don't kludge it with a compact that could collapse mid-cycle. Rachel, I'm comfortable with an amendment if that's the only credible route, but the core reform is still compelling. Align the presidency with the national consensus. Right now, we allocate power based on a map that amplifies some states and mutes others. That skews policy promises and federal resource attention. A popular vote would dilute that distortion. Dana, consider unintended consequences. Under NPV, campaign finance and media buys might centralize even more in mega markets. Turnout wars could intensify misinformation, and parties could drift toward national wedge appeals, tailored to high-density media ecosystems. The EC dampens some of that by forcing attention to state-level concerns. Rachel, I think the opposite. NPV incentivizes addition, not just mobilization. In safe states, there's no reason to register or persuade beyond base turnout. Under NPV, parties are rewarded for incremental votes anywhere: suburbs, exurbs, rural towns. That pressures them to broaden, not narrow, their appeals. And research on EC bias shows systematic tilt. Why preserve a structure that routinely advantages one side? Dana, bias estimates vary over time. Any electoral rule will sometimes favor one party than the other, depending on geography. If we're serious about reform, fix apportionment distortions, or consider district-based allocations within states, there are incremental changes that retain federalism while smoothing edges. Rachel, district plans import gerrymandering into presidential elections and can be even less proportional. As for apportionment, the Senate-driven electors guarantee some inequality by design. Again, if equality is the target, the simplest answer is to count votes equally. Dana, equality isn't the only democratic principle. Stability matters. Federalism matters. Minority protections matter. The EC pushes candidates into cross-state bargaining and discourages purely regional candidacies. Before we replace it, we should prove that NPV, with real, uniform national rules, can deliver not only equality, but also stability and legitimate settlements of close contests. Rachel, then we actually agree on the implementation checklist. If we move to NPV, we need national recount triggers, standardized audits, and a clear legal framework. My contention is that these are feasible, and the gains, ending inversions, making every vote count equally, broadening campaign geography, are worth the effort. Dana, and my contention is that, absent those national guardrails, the compact route is legally fragile and operationally risky. I'd rather retain the EC while improving election administration, expanding turnout, and reducing distortions through smaller bore reforms. Rachel, what about a transitional plan? States join a compact and Congress passes model legislation for uniform canvass and recount procedures with federal funds for audits and real-time reporting. Build the infrastructure as the coalition grows, not after the fact. Dana, if you can secure bipartisan agreement on uniform rules, that addresses many of my objections. But that's the hard part. The EC isn't just habit, it's a constitutional equilibrium. Moving away requires more consensus than we currently have. Rachel, big changes have happened before, when the case was clear and the benefits were visible. Here, the democratic equality case is straightforward. Every ballot should weigh the same. If we can meet your stability bar with national procedures, we should do it. Dana, until then, I'll defend the EC as the less risky status quo, acknowledging its flaws but valuing its federal structure. If a durable, uniform NPV framework emerges, amendment or robust statutory architecture, I'll reassess. Rachel, fair. Let's at least agree to fix what we can now. Publish state-level risk-limiting audit results, standardize provisional and absentee cures, and improve transparency in all states. Whether we keep the EC or move to NPV, those steps strengthen legitimacy. Dana, agreed. Better administration is a win either way. And debates like this should push us toward evidence-tested reforms, not slogans. If NPV proponents can answer the legal and operational questions, the conversation changes. If not, the EC remains the safer harbor. Rachel. Meanwhile, we can be honest with voters. The EC dilutes some voices and can misfire in close races. If that feels wrong to you, support the work that would make a popular vote both equal and reliable. Dana. And if you value federalism and dispersed authority, push for improvements within the current system. Either path demands seriousness about rules, audits, and transparency. On that, at least, we're firmly aligned.